Hello dear viewers, it's been a while but it is time for another build, and today I am doing one I wanted to try out for years. Well, it didn't disappoint, but I am going to be honest with you. If you need to kill things in a spectacular fashion left, right and center, she may not be your kind of girl. Unfortunately, she is a secretive, quiet and inconspicuous one. She deals in herbs, poisons, and mind control spells, because she's a witch, and a Daedra worshipping one at that.
What makes you think she's a witch?
Well, she turned me into a newt.
A newt?
Got better.
She also offers a fairly underused combination of skills, needing only 2 crafting skills, pickpocket skill and 1 magic skill to prevail in most situations. She plays like a thief character who is also a mage. She never lifts a weapon, instead making her enemies tear each other apart. It is a refreshing way of playing the game, but it will require some patience and grinding on the player's part, and you will need to be very careful early game before you accrue all the necessary powerful potions and unique stuffs. No mods are necessary for the build to function, but the aesthetics shown in the video are from common clothes, of course, and the awesome bandana comes from Immersive Armors. Alright, in terms of the backstory, I must admit I really wasn't able to come up with anything particularly interesting and captivating for her, and I guess we can pretend it's not my fault entirely. It is just in the nature of the build, let's say. She is a very stereotypical character. Her mother was probably a witch as well, and she kind of passed the craft. And that was the case for generations before, probably. And of course, one time her mother passed away, leaving behind some possessions. And going through all the possessions, our lass here found out her mother was actually quite deep into Daedra worshipping business, and she left a map with a set of locations of Daedric shrines and ways to appeal to the Daedric lords. Therefore our witch started a quest to contact, let's say, and start bargaining with most of the Daedric princes. Right, so we can pretend it's not entirely on my ineptitude and lack of imagination. It's you know, as I said, in the nature of the build. Okay, then let's start with the race. I went for a Nord as I wanted her to be native to the land, but obviously a Breton would be a better choice, probably gameplay wise. However, the battle cry racial ability provides an early game crowd control, which is a good idea for this particular build. You can combine it with a staff of paralysis, one of which can be found in a fixed location at Snapleg Cave, and perhaps with some cheap calm spell, which with a bit of luck you can buy in Riverwood. Speaking of early game crowd control, I did something strange with the standing stone choice. I didn't go for Lord or Atronach. How unexpected! Ooh, I choose the snake stone, which is borderline useless, yes, but actually fits the playstyle quite well, and in the early levels it may save you in some sticky situations. Because our witch relies so heavily on alchemy and poisoning people with reverse pickpocketing, you may also need to switch to the Thief Stone from time to time. And she also needs her enchanting skill to be maxed out before level 30, so sometime close to that level you may be forced to do some grinding. If it happens to be the case, switch to the Mage Stone, obviously. Fortunately, the attributes ratio will be pretty straightforward because you only need health. All your magicka will come from enchantments and potions, and also all your main spells will be extremely cheap, and those that won't be cheap will be stored in staffs. Before we go through all the skills and perks, let me tell you a few things about the general gameplay, because it is a bit on the challenging side this time, and it is easy to get frustrated if you don't have a good plan for the first levels. First of all, this build is complete pretty early. It can be completed at level 43, if I'm not mistaken, or something around that number. And only 2 of your main skills will need to reach 100 for its full functionality. But it comes with a price. First, you will have no direct damage skills or spells, with an exception of the poison room. Placing powerful poisons on your enemies is a great fun, but unfortunately a lot of things are resistant to poison, or at least some particular effects of poisons. And the effectiveness of this mechanics really plummets on legendary difficulty. So a good and faithful companion will be quite handy, and we, myself and one of the subs, decided on Barbas as the witch's familiar. You pick him up outside Falkreath, go through Hemar's Shame, but never return him to Clavicus Vile. It will be mighty helpful to use a mod like Extensive Follower Framework to get a better control over Barbas. Without the mods, Barbas will just foil your sneak all the time. Becoming a vampire is also something worth remembering, and it will probably happen to you anyway if you spend too much time in the wilderness of Skyrim, as the part of her journey to uncover Daedric artifacts and strike deals with Daedric lords. The Dread Witch may decide to go down this path, especially that it gives even more early game crowd control powers. It also helps with illusion and sneak. Yeah, it's great to be undead. Another thing to consider on Legendary is getting some powerful destruction stuff and keeping a supply of fortified destruction potions at all time. Keep in mind that this character has no armor rating to speak of, so conflict avoidance will often be the best possible tactics. However, all the troubles you may face early game will be solved once your illusion skill is fully perked. All the perks in the illusion tree will be of great use. However, this one has no need for formal education, and in fact would probably prefer to stay clear of the College of Winterhall. She can't have an easy access to expert and master spells then, and so she doesn't need expert or master perks. Dual casting is of top priority, as it will increase the level of enemies susceptible to your crowd control, and the quiet casting is also pretty high on the go-to list, as staying undetected is what lets you use your poisons. Once you have the Master of the Mind and cost-reducing enchantments, nothing can oppose you. Use a frenzy spell to cause some mayhem, and if anything goes wrong, just cast a calm spell on the nearest enemies. Great benefits will come from a very limited investment in restoration. Other than the cost-reducing perks up to Adept, you only need regeneration and recovery. Of course, both rank of recovery, right? Nobody takes just one rank of recovery. They will provide an almost infinite magicka pool, considering the laughably small cost of your illusions. The regeneration perk just means that the cheaper healing spells like Close Wounds will be reliable throughout the entire playthrough. Alchemy is the cornerstone of the build because it offsets your lack of high-level spells and your rather narrow selection of perks. I can go on and on about the usefulness of this particular skill, but instead I will give you some cool recipes. But later on. Later, not yet. For now, let's just say that Fortify Illusion, Paralysis, Slow, Invisibility and Weakness to Poison are all quite vital to the gameplay. So you will be harvesting stuff all the time. It might help to rob an alchemy shop from time to time. Speaking of theft and robbery, you will use your pickpocket skill to apply all your hard-earned poisons, and this can actually be quite a lot of fun. And it gets even easier with the use of Calm spell. If you calm down a bandit, they will stop actively searching for you. So if you are discovered, you can just calm down an enemy and sneak again. And after that, plant some poisons on them, of course. Also, you will use Skull of Corruption and be a vampire in the need of some fresh blood, so you will have plenty of reasons to sneak in people's houses. For this reason, you may consider taking the Keymaster perk as well. In enchanting, go for all the ranks of enchanter and then the shortest path to extra effect. All the perks will work wonders for you, as reducing the cost of illusion and fortifying your magicka is what you need to survive. As mentioned, remember to keep up with the level scaling and be prepared for all monstrosities the game will throw at you after level 30. You should have this skill maxed out at that point. Not much more to say, I think we all know what the extra effect perk does to your characters. And lastly, 5 ranks of stealth, and the sneak skill should be acquired as soon as the sneak level allows for it. You never ever start a combat openly and directly, so it is pretty important to remain hidden. No other perks has been taken because alchemy and illusion can take care of all the situations when your stealth fails. Your deals with the Daedric Princess will give you some tools for direct combat, and for one, the Skull of Corruption should be acquired as soon as possible. If you can use it from a distance while Barbas keeps your enemies busy, it will be a decent enough weapon for the rare occasions when some direct combat is not to be avoided. If Barbas is not enough to fill the front line, Sanguine's Rose will help. Unfortunately, the Dremora summoned with it is leveled, so without the mods, you should probably wait until level 36 at least, before getting it. A good thing is that once you have it, you have a reusable tank to take all the damage off your hands, or your shoulders, or off you. That's alright. On the side note, it might be a good call to use the Immersive Creatures mod, because it also gives you some other useful and fairly strong summons in the form of staffs. Some Daedra known from previous Elder Scrolls games will be made available to you if you are lucky enough to meet a Daedra worshipper. And what would a witch be without the ability of turning people into rabbits and chickens and mud crabs? You just can't make it without Wabbajack. Not to mention it has a chance of insta-killing bosses and applying destructive effects. Yeah, sometimes you will turn people into Dremoras, but you know, you have illusion to help you with these mishaps. Your clothing items will all be enchanted by you, and the choice of enchantment is pretty obvious. Place Fortify Magicka in every possible slot, use Fortify Illusion on your robe and bandana, and if you still have some slots available, use Fortify Magicka Regeneration, and also enchant your boots with resistance to fire and lightning. As a Nord vampire, you don't really need to be concerned with frost resistances. Okay, as promised, let's go through some of the cool alchemical recipes for this character. With the Imp's Tool, Slaughterfish Egg and some human flesh, you can craft a poison to take down or at least seriously harm the strongest of bandits. If you feel like using your Skull of Corruption, you should first place this poison on your enemies. They won't be able to catch up with you and they will take about 90 points of damage per hit. Not really amazing, but not too bad either. This concoction will be insanely useful against other witches and spellcasters, blocking their magical regeneration and sending them against their friends to quickly die in rapid fire of spells. It may be a bit hard to come by the required ingredients. Did I mention that you should rob an alchemy shop with this character from time to time? Yeah, I did. I know. Well, I repeat myself quite a lot. Didn't you notice? This one, on the other hand, is best used against big, scary fighters. Without stamina regeneration, they can't power attack, really. And also they can't attack you, because you will easily outrun them. The best thing about reverse pickpocketing poisons is that you can keep adding more poisons to a single enemy until they notice you, which with your high pickpocket skill can as well never happen. It is a sound idea to place a poison of weakness to poison first and then one or two of your multi-effect concoctions. In terms of beneficial potions, there is approximately a gazillion useful effects. Remember about Luna Moth and Vampire Dust combination as well? It makes you invisible and regenerates your health. It is perfect for this character. Fortify Sneak, Fortify Illusion, Fortify Magicka, and Fortify Magicka Regeneration should all be in your inventory at all times, well, whenever you can manage it. Yeah, I know it's a lot of ingredient collecting, just stop whining and rob an alchemist. So there she is, a sneaky mage and a spellcasting thief. She is one of these strange characters that are kind of difficult to play for a while, and then something happens and all of a sudden the game becomes absurdly easy. Yes, that would be it for today. Don't forget to leave me a comment if you decide to play this one, or even something remotely similar, and come back for more content later on. We will see each other again. Bye bye.